Hello, welcome to the Vulgate Season 2. Today we're going to talk about stuff. I have one of my old drug prescription, some literature on some drugs I used to take. Very interesting. And we're going to talk about the internet. But first, a t-shirt idea by Najla. I don't trust Mariah Carey's sister either. Najla. T-shirt idea number 2 from me. Yes, they lied about the smallpox blankets. ... It was chickenpox. Yup. Okay. Third t-shirt idea. This is another Najla. The t-shirt says, seeing the original picture of the Kardashians did boost my self-esteem, I'm not gonna lie. Smiley face. Okay. Now, business idea. Well, an American gangster, Denzel Washington, all his ladies he has chopping up the heroin. He makes them not wear clothes, so he says, so they can't steal any of the dope, right? So, this right here. Rollable TV ad. All right, what else we got? That was like Home Depot. All right, phone.
Hold on.
Fucking retard.
Hold on.
You are such a dickless faggot, James. I cannot believe how fucking dumb you are.
Go.
Everything you say is wrong, and you are so fucking stupid. We want nothing the fuck to do with you at all whatsoever because you are not capable mentally. You make horrible decisions, and we don't give a shit about you or Owen Benjamin. And I'm so happy that we removed your episodes. So now you fucking sucking Owen Benjamin's dick and talking
I'm happy you removed my episode too.
I don't give a shit about what you have to say, James.
I really am.
People can like you. People can be your
going
friend.
around the internet telling people how great you are.
I don't want anything to do with you because you're fucking stupid.
That's why you're on right now. That's why you're on right now.
I don't care what you have to say. I'm telling you, I don't like you, and I don't want to have anything to do with you. And you can say whatever you want, and anyone can be friends with you. But I know so much shit that I'm never gonna say on here because I don't give.
What do you know? Go ahead. I know what to do. What do you?
I know that you're a fucking asshole and a retard, and I would never want to recommend your products or your stupid fucking drugs to anyone because it's showing in how dumb you are. You are so dumb. So maybe it's probably because of the shit that you're taking. So goodbye.
Damn, y'all are seeing this shit, right? Y'all are fucking seeing this shit.
I'm all about the information. Certain people have been going around to certain shows, namely Rose 777, saying that ibogaine doesn't even work. So they deleted all my episodes where we talked about how ibogaine does work, and we shared multiple examples on how they worked. In episode 460, it started with Crow thanking me for helping his friend Bob. Who then started recording our phone calls, but he thanked me for helping him, and I talked about other people that we helped with ibogaine get off opiates successfully on the Crow 777 radio show. But as soon as we started talking about Owen Benjamin is bullshit, they took all of our Crow episodes down talking about ibogaine and about these particular drugs. We're recording our consultations. Bob started recording them. And we were like, no problem, no problem. No problem. But they did leave an episode up that did talk about ibogaine. There was one other episode that talked about ibogaine other than our episodes, our 3 episodes. It was an episode that came out after my first one from, Barataria guy who told everyone to just don't wean down from these heavy-duty narcotics and just dive deep into ibogaine with this still in your system. He said he took 16 milligrams of Suboxone, which is a massive beyond ceiling dose. Some people are on 32, but regardless, it's still just an incredible amount at that point. And he did not get what he was intending to get out of the experience. But they left his episode up because it's not about information. We're about information. People's behavior that are presenting information and saying it's something that it's not is important. That's information as well. People's actual authentic behavior is important information. people's experiences are important information. So I hope you got a lot out of this and how important it is to have good information out there. Information out there that says you can take 16 milligrams of Suboxone one day and then an hour later take ibogaine, and information like that that's out there, I wouldn't take seriously. I don't take seriously. I try to be supportive because I know it's hard for people to wean down and things like that. But if you're not going to, don't mess around with things that you're not ready to mess around with. If you want to continue to stay taking things with these side effects and trashing things, you know, like the reason why Rose all of a sudden saying that ibogaine doesn't even work is because she tried it, but she, again, refused to wean down, refused to stop taking benzos and opiates.
The information I am giving you, James, you fucking suck. You were wrong, and you should have apologized when Crow told you to. You should have been able to comprehend that you made a terrible mistake making false allegations that we would ever do anything negative to or cause any harm to you whatsoever, that we would send someone to you, or that we would fucking record you or try to get you to incriminate yourself over what? I erroneously thought you're a wonderful fucking person. And even though I didn't use your products, and even though your Iboga didn't fucking work on me, I still loved you and still wanted to invite you on the show when you said you were having problems with Owen to talk about herbs and shit, right, man? Because I just liked you guys. What the fuck is wrong with me? Why would I have someone on the show just because I like them? So I'm never doing that again. I have to be even more diligent with only having people that have helpful information. And like, if someone has something to fucking sell, I better make sure it fucking works and is good. I made a big mistake, but now I'm happy because the episodes are gone. And now I don't have to worry about anyone going towards him again because of me.
Well, in the interest of being fair and balanced, it seems like James was pretty hurt by at least somebody through this whole experience, and he seems to be expressing a deep feeling of betrayal.
So if you take ibogaine while you're saturated with benzos and opiates, and you might have a reason to take benzos and opiates, no judgment. Everyone, again, is case by case basis, but ibogaine is what it is. If you refuse to wean down off extremely harmful, heavy duty pharmaceutical or street narcotics, and then you take ibogaine and it disappoints you, and you should be ashamed if you then go around the internet telling everyone that ibogaine doesn't work. You know, it might not work for some people, but did you do it right? You know, and then there's the other thing where the villagers say that if it doesn't pick you, it doesn't pick you. But I know that the person saying that they hate us now and that we're just so stupid and the ibogaine doesn't even work and all these things, I know are saturated with heavy duty narcotics, with opiates and benzos. And yeah, so in one breath they're saying, you know, ibogaine doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. And these are the same people that said, me and my wife are on drugs. Like, you know, our whole business is getting people off drugs. So it's just cool. It's so funny to see these people going around still talking that shit. Vulgate. Oh, we're going to talk about drugs? Okay. All right, sounds good. Okay. All right, bye-bye. All right. Let's talk about drugs. So I was on a version of buprenorphine that had naloxone in it, unlike Subutex. So it's buprenorphine and naloxone. And naloxone, or Narcan, is used to get people out of opiate or opioid overdoses. Watch people like lying there dead from an overdose. People inject this spray into their nose and they come back to life. But what it does for the person is that it throws you into what they call precipitated withdrawal syndrome. And what that feels like is the peak withdrawal feeling. People will shit their pants and throw up and have like a sneeze attack all at the same time. It's very disgusting. Typically, they're like sweating profusely, and man, you don't have any control of your bowels or your muscles or anything. Most people just get in the fetal position. And it feels very similar to cotton fever. Cotton fever, people used to say, well, it's because you use a little piece of cotton for your filter when you're cooking up dope. So when you draw it up in the syringe, you don't get anything that, you know, might have fell in your spoon or anything else besides the liquid dope that you just cooked up. You don't want any hard particle in there because you don't want to clog the needle. That's the main priority with addicts. But also so you don't get any injected into your bloodstream that isn't the liquid itself. Okay, so when a little piece of cotton would get into the syringe, and that would produce a similar effect, and that they would call it cotton fever. Years go on, you learn a little more, and you realize that people will reuse the same cotton from the last time they shot dope, and the reason they do that keeps getting loaded up, it keeps getting saturated in the liquid. You have some of that now dried saturation to put the needle into and then draw up the liquid through. And people will reuse that because they want whatever was left in them from the last time so they can increase their high as potent as possible, right? But when you do that and you're injecting and drawing blood and things like that, bacteria happens. A lot of the time just from the air, if it's left out, it attracts bacteria. That's what it is. And that's how people get cotton fever. And what that is that precipitated withdrawal type. The worst cold symptoms you could ever possibly imagine. Beyond though, way beyond. So that's what happens when people are brought back with Narcan or naloxone. They spray it up their nose with a sprayable syringe, but it's all about how you feel with drugs, drug addicts. You feel terrible. You don't feel anything in an overdose, and then you feel terrible when you're brought out in that way, okay? So they use that drug, naloxone, that brings you out, and they put it in this drug. This drug, Suboxone or Zubsolv is what I'm about to read you from, has that drug plus buprenorphine. Buprenorphine has a much higher affinity to your dopamine receptors than short-acting opiates. Buprenorphine is very sticky. If your receptor is like a little hole, you're putting super glue into it, okay? A short-acting opiate is like a glue stick, just wiping it, right? And they do that to make it last all day. We've been over this, I know. I just like to emphasize what two drugs you're working with at the same time. They're complete contradictions, complete repellents of one another. Very confusing to your body. A lot of people's bodies start falling apart. Some people, they say they have no issue with it, but those people typically haven't been on it for too long. And if they have been on it for a good period of time, 9 times out of 10, they are on other drugs to manage the side effects of Suboxone, Zubsolv, buprenorphine, Subutex, etc. Methadone is also a long-acting opioid, but there's something very unique about the agonist-antagonist Suboxone. Any experienced user will tell you that. Let's just go through, and it's so you don't withdraw, okay? Let's just go through just some of the things it says. What is the most important information I should know about Zubsolv? Zubsolv can cause serious and life-threatening breathing problems. Call your doctor right away or get emergency help if you feel faint, dizzy, or confused. Your breathing gets much slower than is normal to you. These can be signs of an overdose or other serious problems. So when they talk about there's been 8 people on record that died from Ibogaine, but they don't tell you what other drugs were in their system or if they were healthy or if they were old or young or how much Ibogaine they took or anything like that. Still 8 people. Let's say straight up Ibogaine overdoses. Let's pretend. 8 people. Okay. Already, right off the bat, talking about overdose levels, which can be fatal. There are many documented cases of that. These can be signs of an overdose or other serious problems. Zubsolv contains an opioid that can cause physical dependence. Do not stop taking Zubsolv without talking to your doctor. You could become sick with uncomfortable withdrawal signs and symptoms because your body has become used to this medication. Physical dependence is not the same as drug addiction. They want you to think physical dependence is not as bad as drug addiction. But if the physical dependence takes 1 year on average to heal from, some people it takes a year just to get back to the very starting point of beginning to start to feel normal. Is that worse than a drug addiction that took you a week to 2 weeks to feel normal again from? But because you used it multiple times a day without a doctor's prescription, they say that's worse. That's always what they're implying. That it's okay to get addicted to this thing that is at the very least 52 times as hard to get off of than drug addictions. Physical dependence is that much harder. Physical dependence is not the same as drug addiction. So, yeah, after they're describing all of these things, which sound like drug addiction, it just wants to remind you, but this isn't drug addiction. This is better. Okay. Cool. I'm into better shit. I'm into that better shit, bro. I think it would be funny to have Brilliant Bryce read this. Oh shit, for real? Alright, okay. So all this stuff is not the same as drug addiction, which is why you need this. Physical dependence. Zubsolv is not for occasional or as needed use. An overdose and even death can happen if you take benzodiazepine, sedatives, tranquilizers, or alcohol while using Zubsolv. Ask your doctor what you should do if you're taking one of these. So they were prescribing me with Zubsolv. They were prescribing me Klonopin, Xanax, Flexeril, gabapentin, Clonidine, and I believe I had one more. Adderall. Number 6, Adderall. Adderall. Klonopin, Xanax, Flexeril, gabapentin, Clonidine, and Adderall. And Suboxone, or Zubsolv. So I was on 7 pharmaceuticals. They didn't like that I had cannabis in my system. So what a lot of these drugs do is make your body very acidic. Dr. Sebi, many people have emphasized the importance of creating an alkaline state for your body. You already have stomach acid. You need to be in an alkaline state. You don't want to increase the acidity or pH. You don't want to not be able to lay down or sleep because acid is coming up into your throat, right? Your body is completely filled with it. Mucus, acidity, toxicity. So cannabis creates an alkaline environment, and I craved cannabis around this time all the time. That was when I really had trouble breathing at night, and when I woke up in the morning, it's just terrible. The amount of mucus and acidity your body fills up with, you become toxic. So that's why I used the cannabis, and my doctor was a medical marijuana advocate, but he kept getting raided by the DEA, so he's like, dude, you gotta stop smoking weed. And I'm like, yeah, but the acidity, I knew that was the problem towards the end. I had, started to learn about these things. And he's like, I understand that. And he would point to his medical marijuana thing, and he would, it would be a picture of him and Governor Cuomo shaking hands. He'd point to it and say, I understand that. You can't have weed in your system. And I was on those 7 heavy-duty narcotics. But the cannabis was the problem. None of those drugs were the problem. He even wanted to prescribe me more for other side effects I was having. Destroys your testosterone. They love to get you on some type of testosterone situation. And a lot of pro-Suboxone people that are on it for a long time are on those things. Side effects meds, motivation meds, and testosterone meds if you're a guy. For the most part, a lot of them. Okay. An overdose and even death can happen if you take benzodiazepines, sedatives, tranquilizers. I was prescribed to all of them with this, or alcohol while using Zubsolv. Ask your doctor what you should do if you are taking one of these. And the side effects, like I just said, destroy your motivation. Your serotonin and your testosterone are so depleted that you have so many people on this that lose their job eventually, or just don't care about their job or keeping friends or their family, because everything just goes to zero and everything stops mattering. Nothing matters anymore when you're in that state. Call a doctor or get emergency help right away if you feel sleepy and uncoordinated, have blurred vision, have slurred speech, cannot think well or clearly, have slowed reflexes and breathing. And then it says, do not inject, and then in quotes, shoot up Zubsolv. Injecting Zubsolv may cause life-threatening infections and other serious health problems. Because like xylazine, it can instantly destroy your veins, and when it has that type of contact, if it doesn't get absorbed under your tongue, it can really destroy your veins and things like that. So people don't inject it. They put it under their tongue. Now, when you put it under your tongue every day, after a certain period of time, your teeth, the inside of your teeth turn black. Many of my teeth went back to white. And I was like, man, I was so grateful, because I thought it was deterioration at first. And then you realize there's just a thick, dark, black thing that takes months to come off your teeth from this thing. And it's a white pill, so it's very weird. But Wherever you have it in your mouth the most, where you leave it is where it can actually deteriorate the teeth. That's what's confusing about it too, because some of your teeth will have black staining on it from the drug itself that can come off over time. And then other teeth, the Suboxone or buprenorphine completely rips through and just deteriorates and destroys, kind of like crystal meth. It's a very similar look. It happens very quickly. People on these drugs lose their teeth quicker than mom having a baby every year, which will do the same thing, but not in the blackening way. This is destroying enamel and completely eating away at it. I have a ton of fake teeth. And it's a shame. I stopped a lot of the deterioration dead in its tracks when I stopped using this medication. But for years while I was on this, I was going to the dentist, getting teeth pulled, teeth breaking while I was eating, and, just very weird. So if you shoot it, you'll destroy your veins. And, you could get an abscess, and you might have to get your arm or leg amputated. If you put it under your tongue, you're going to destroy your teeth. Most likely the bottom row. So it's up to you which. If you want to crush it up and sniff it to bypass those, you'll probably need deviated septum surgery after a short period of time. But it's disgusting, so you're not going to want to put it up your nose, in my opinion. Injecting Zubsolv may cause serious withdrawal symptoms such as pain, cramps, vomiting, diarrhea, anxiety, sleep problems, and cravings. In an emergency, have family members tell the emergency department staff that you are physically dependent on an opioid and are being treated with Zubsolv, which again is okay at a certain level until you learn the details of what that particular physical dependence involves. Okay? The teeth, the serotonin, the testosterone, the dopamine. The 1 year plus on average of withdrawal symptoms. Regaining normality can take much longer than that, and it's a subjective process, but it's on average about 1 year. So it's very hard for people to get off this stuff because 3 months after they stop taking it, they're still having cold sweats and hot sweats and can't sleep and have no motivation. 3 months, 4 months down the road, and every day seems like forever when you're in withdrawal. So it's a living hell, man. My heart goes out to anyone still on this. And this is my original insert from 2016. What is Zubsolv? Zubsolv is a prescription medication used to treat adults who are addicted to opioid drugs, either prescription or illegal, as part of a complete treatment program that also includes counseling and behavioral therapy. Good move. Good call. Good call, Zubsolv. It says Zubsolv is a controlled substance because it contains buprenorphine, which can be a target for people who abuse prescription medications or street drugs. Keep your Zubsolv in a safe place to protect it from theft. Never give your Zubsolv to anyone else. It can cause death or harm them. Selling or giving away this medication is against the law. It is not known if Zubsolv is safe or effective in children. I would lean definitely not. Also, don't take antihistamines. It left that out of the other list, but it has that here. Especially careful about taking other medications that may make you sleepy, such as pain medications, tranquilizers, sleeping pills, anxiety medicines, or antihistamines. Know the medicines you take. Keep a list of them to show your doctor or pharmacist each time you get a new medicine. Okay, do not stop taking Zubsolv suddenly. You could become sick and have withdrawal symptoms because your body has become used to the medicine. Physical dependence is not the same as drug addiction. It says it again. Your doctor can tell you more about the differences between physical dependence and drug addiction. To have fewer withdrawal symptoms, ask your doctor how to stop using Zubsolv the right way. Again, to have fewer withdrawal symptoms, ask your doctor how to stop using Zubsolv. If you take too much Zubsolv, go to the nearest hospital emergency room right away. Now, when you look up buprenorphine, the first thing that comes up is not an exact number of how many people have died with this in their system. Not because of this, but with this in their system. That number does not come up. Many shining reviews, articles of this comes up, and the information itself that is just all about hope. Not addiction, because it's about dependence. To depend on them to get your shit. Don't be depending on the dude from the street. Just depend on us. And you only have to, come to us once a day. And it's not the same as addiction. That's their sales pitch. My sales pitch is, if it takes a year to get off versus a week to 2 weeks to get off, then physical dependence is worse than drug addiction. It's just about math. What should I avoid while taking Zubsolv? Do not drive, operate heavy machinery, or perform any other dangerous activities until you know how this medication affects you. Buprenorphine can cause drowsiness and slow reaction time. You should not drink alcohol while using Zubsolv, as this can lead to loss of consciousness or even death. What are the possible side effects? Respiratory problems. You have a higher risk of death and coma if you take Zubsolv with other medications such as benzodiazepine. Sleepiness, dizziness, and problems with coordination. That's absolutely true. The amount, I dropped a cup of whatever I was drinking at least once a day, but it was typically like 5 to 10 times a day while I was on that. It makes you can't hold on to anything. You shake, you drop stuff constantly. I broke so many coffee mugs in the years I was taking, it was embarrassing. It's very embarrassing to be at a workplace too and constantly be dropping your papers, constantly be not being able to hold on to things that you're just holding in your hand and your hand just lets go. It's fascinating. It's like a very slow death over time. Eventually my hand stopped opening in the mornings. And they show her this person, and that's how you take it, but it should look like this. I colored all her teeth in black. My heart goes out. And a lot of people on this medication, they don't have motivation to get a better job or move up. And they can't really connect with people the way you do in comedy or music. You connect, you get on the same page and you're like, oh, okay, we got this, right? That's not possible on this thing. When you're on it, you might not even be aware that you're that cut off, but everyone else is very aware of it. Your creativity's gone. It destroys that. And your ability to connect with people. So when you start losing your teeth and you're not making more money and you're not going up in the world, it's very hard to deal with that. You don't have insurance, and then you lose the motivation to keep going to work that gives you insurance if you do have insurance. Fascinating. All right, dependency or abuse is a possible serious side effect. It has listed dependency or abuse. So up here they say physical dependence is not the same as drug addiction. And down here it says dependency or abuse is a serious side effect. Up here it says physical dependency is implying that it's not that bad. Why? Because it's not drug addiction. Down here, it's listed as a serious side effect. In this paragraph, physical dependence is so much better than drug addiction. Don't worry, you're not a drug addict anymore. You're just physically dependent. Down here, it says be very wary if you get dependent. That's a serious side effect. And it's listed next to the word abuse. Huh. So it kind of is the same. It is the same. Oh, okay. Is that what they're trying to say? Because I could see this legally as being intentionally misleading, intentionally confusing. We're already doing teeth lawsuits right now for Suboxone. So you could do a lot more with it, in my opinion. Liver problems. Call your doctor right away if you notice any signs of liver problems. Your skin or white part of your eyes turning yellow, which is called jaundice, which might be the funniest word in the English vocabulary. Oh, I got jaundice! Urine turning dark. Stools turning light in color. That's if you can shit at all. You have less of an appetite, or you have stomach, abdominal pain, or nausea. Allergic reaction, another serious side effect. You may have rash, hives, swelling of your face, wheezing, or loss of blood pressure and consciousness. Call a doctor or get emergency help right away. Opioid withdrawal. This can include shaking, sweating more than normal, feeling hot and cold more than normal, runny nose, watery eyes, goosebumps, diarrhea, vomiting, muscle aches. Tell your doctor if you develop any of these symptoms. Everyone on it typically experiences that one way or another. Decrease in blood pressure. You may feel dizzy if you get up too fast from sitting or lying down. Another thing is it slowly tears apart your immune system, or the things in place that are the domino effect that is your immune system, to the point where if you sleep on top of your arms fall asleep, or on top of your hand or anything. If you're on top of any of your limbs or extremities, they fall asleep very easily. They go numb. But after all of that, it says the most common side effects of Zubsolv include headache, nausea, vomiting, increased sweating, constipation, drug withdrawal syndromes, decrease in sleep, insomnia, pain, swelling of the extremities. How should I dispose of Zubsolv? Flush unused tablets down the toilet. And it's funny because then we have all these documentaries about how it's so bad to flush drugs down the toilet because it ends up in the water system, and then drugs end up in the system, and then there's hormone issues. And right here it says to do that, to flush it right down the toilet if you don't want it. One of the strongest narcotics on the market. So, and then people say, well, unless you take it a certain way, it doesn't absorb the same as if you took it another way. I get all that. But you're still getting that in the water supply. And if you're flushing tons of it down there, it's just not a good scenario. It's not a good situation. We have always been we had a wonderful experience getting off these really incredible drugs after, 10 years plus of this and so many other street and prescription chemicals that were really destroying my own body. I did Ibogaine. It absolutely changed my life. But at the same time, it's not for everyone. And I'm not going through this to say, well, Kratom or Ibogaine is the answer. Definitely not. It's subjective, individualized for everyone. Some people work terribly with Kratom and they don't like it at all. Some people like Kratom too much and they have abuse problems with it. And, and I could go back and forth about what's better, to be dependent on something natural, leaf, glue stick, compared to super glue. But I think it's obvious at this point. I'm all about the information, and I appreciate the support. I see you, but I see the private support. I appreciate it. So I don't respect you, but the public support, y'all mean the absolute world. Yeah, the private boutique has been enjoying all the best earth. I've been getting a lot of emails being like, where is it? Where is it? It's very simple. If you want to join at patreon.com/thevulgate. We took a good long summer break. We're going to be getting back into the swing of things. And we're going to see where it's going to go. Like we said earlier, we lost an endorsement we were happy to give back. But when we got that endorsement, they sent a ton of people our way. And I wanted to be able to keep up with the demand. And the whole point was to actually help people, as many people as we possibly could, that we could keep up with. So as soon as the endorsement card got pulled, so many people were just like, oh, you guys are terrible now because Crow doesn't like you anymore. He said the conduct of the guest was not acceptable. So, I'm happy to give it back. If that's over, I'm so happy to give it back. Merry Christmas to me. Many Iboga people we've worked with don't want to do a live stream because it's theirs and they're doing wonderful, and I love those people. But we do have some more that are willing to share some stories. People get very nervous on camera. I remember when I started doing interviews and streams, I felt the same way. Um, you know, it's just about getting in the flow and just doing it and just doing it. And that's what I love about Iboga. It just taught me to get into life and just do it. Get out of your head and just get in the game. So, much love, y'all. Merry Christmas, and I hope y'all are having a wonderful week. And we'll see you next time on the Vulgate Season 2. All right, peace.